Hello, and welcome to Sharing the Manual podcast, brought to you by You Insure, where we journey with you to finish well financially. This journey takes you to an intersection of life and money coaching. As we all know, how you live out your life in all areas has lasting effects on your money. Now, it has been said that emotionally connected men and women have better finances. My name is Amy Yu, and if you've seen my last name, you know why I've shortened it. And I will be your host. I am so glad that you've joined us on what is sure to be a memorable adventure. One where no topic is off limits. We understand that all areas of our lives are intertwined. We will talk money, emotions, even emotions around your money. Raising kids, which is sure to be a hoot, as they say the darndest things. Dating, relationships, marriage, grief in so many forms, whether it's a death, a divorce, an illness, or just your life not turning out how you thought it would. Because that, my friends, is very real, and I know that firsthand. We will tackle life's epic fails, celebrate the wins, overcome the obstacles, address the mountains and valleys in each other's lives. No rock will go unturned. This podcast is one of real, honest, genuine, humorous conversations where we share stories that are sure to inspire you, encourage, equip, and empower you to live out your best life. Our goal is to build connections, community of belonging, as you, my dear, are not the only one. We are journeying and navigating this life together, and I hope that you're ready to dive right in. I am so very excited about today's topic, money stories. We all have a story, but did you know that we have a money story? Because I'm a life and a money coach extraordinaire, we will unpack how these two stories have played a major role in how we have and are living out our lives, either good or bad. When meeting with clients, I love asking a couple questions, and not your normal questions, as let's be honest, I'm not like the others. I'm not asking you about your numbers. I'm asking about your memories. What was money like for you growing up as a kid? When I was first asked this question, it completely caught me off guard, and I needed to put more thought to this. My parents really didn't talk about money. It was kind of hush-hush. The only time when I can recall them talking about it is when money became an issue. Now, I have interviewed many men and women to ask these same questions, and everyone has a unique upbringing around money. Some remember being on welfare and the shame that had felt around that. Some recall their parents always fighting around them about money. So they carry with them this negative feeling about money, while others were given and have had anything and everything that they needed and wanted. Don't worry, we will unpack some of this a little later. Now, I am sharing this with you guys because I want you to put thought to and write it down, which then leads me to the next question. What is your first memory of money? Now, for me, it was when my parents lost a fair amount of money, and it changed the whole trajectory of our lives. For some, it's buying themselves a lawnmower and going around to the neighborhood houses to make some extra money, to buy that sweet pair of Nike sneakers, the high tops that were orange and different colored laces. I found it so amazing, the amount of detail that we can have about this very first memory of money. Or perhaps it's your parents helping you set up your very own lemonade stand, and you took your earnings to the store and indulged in a box of 5-cent candies. Or maybe back then it was 1-cent candies, because that was a thing. Not even to mention, not even just a bag, the box. You bought the whole box. Ask your kids what their first memory of money is. For my daughter, she shared with me when she was 16 that her first memory of money is when we lost everything and her dad passed. Now that one's heavy. This goes to show that some of us do have these heavy memories of what money was like. And for some of us, it's lighter. Either way, having these experiences, they shape us and they give what we refer to as part of our money story. So here is the reason why I go here first with people, because we have subconscious patterns and beliefs, lies that we believe about money. Now, these can contribute to our money language. Just like there's love language, there's also money languages. Knowing this can bring unity to the most intimate relationships as well as your relationships with your kids. And here's a great example of how our experiences with money can follow us. Now, I've shared with you that my first memory of money was when my parents lost a significant amount, which has sent our family into scarcity mode with money. And when I look back to how I've lived out my finances, I realize very much that my money language is stability through and through. Now, stability is one of the money languages, and there are 4. There's stability, moments, future, and opportunity. Now, this fascinates me as I can really recognize my patterns in my money due to my money language, and my emotions have played a massive role in my money. But here's the thing, when I look at my daughter, whose first memory of money was losing everything, and I look at her money patterns, she has worked since she's been 14, and she is a saver. Now, not just any kind of saver, more of a hoarder. And when I put two to two together, she is that way too because she is stability when it comes to her money language. Fear of the other shoe dropping, ensuring that she has to have money there just in case. Not willing to spend because she fears and has that scarcity mindset. Now, knowing this, we've had to work really hard together at correcting this pattern of hers, but it stems from her experiences. And we all have those experiences, hence our money stories. Our money stories have power. We need to be aware of the areas that where it can derail us on our journey. And sometimes it's unforeseen circumstances, and other times it's left to our own devices. It can be conscious and unconscious behavior patterns that go unnoticed. This stems from what we believed about money, good or bad, and how we view our identity around money. The shame based stories that we can carry most of our lives from our experiences. To live out differently, we need to shift our mindsets about money, which, my friends, isn't as easy as one might think. We really need to rewire our brain to new healthy neurological pathways about and around money. And guess what? We have to be aware of our unhealthy past and perhaps current patterns to do that work. When we dare to talk about money in this way, magic happens and financial wholeness is born. And that, my dear ones, leads to financial freedom. You strengthen your relationships, your communication about money, self reflection, awareness paired with compassion as to what others have lived regarding their very own stories. I want to start by sharing some stories that have give insight as to maybe where some of you may carry some of your very own barriers to money. I will share with you what others have openly shared with me, their feelings regarding shame, guilt, fear, pride, anxiety, stoic, numbing, entitlement, judgment, trauma, hustle, arrogance, striving, enabled, manipulative. These are words that people have used to describe their feelings about money. So, talking money should not be taboo. We need to quiet the noise, though, of the world and start to break down and dismantle our old belief systems that no longer are serving us well. Now, I did a blog on men and money and emotions. Now, women and men are very similar, but yet different. And I hope that this gives some insight that you're not alone. After sharing, we will encourage you to kick your old stories to the curb. This is real for many. And we feel held hostage due to some of our old money decisions that prevent us from moving forward. Now, every financial decision that you've ever made has a ripple effect. I love thinking of dominoes. You know, you put up a whole bunch of dominoes and then you hit that one, and next thing you know, they're all falling down. The same can be true in regards to your money decisions. Now, bankruptcy, unfortunately, when I interviewed somebody that they've experienced this when they were younger, poor money decisions, they were unaware of the magnitude of their choices. Now, some of this is due to lack of understanding of money, not enough communication about it, but of course, the social pressure that society puts on us to keep up. There is nothing worse than being in a good financial position and being able to move ahead now, but unfortunately, your previous bad credit score is holding you back. Would you consider yourself naive when it comes to money? Or you have more of a ostrich in the sand type approach, meaning you don't look at it? In some families, only one partner truly knows what's happening with their money. This is so problematic on so many levels, as it should be all hands on deck, required to live through life's curveballs. And we need to understand. Now, my family has said numerous times that my dad would be lost, honestly, without my mom, because my mom handles all of that. And I don't even know if my dad would know how to fill out a checkbook. Now, funny thing about checkbooks is they're kind of obsolete. But who else comes from a family like that? Worth putting thought into. Perhaps it's the other way around for you. You and your partner, maybe they take care of it all. How many times within a relationship are you on the same page about money? Now, opposites can attract. You may have one that is a saver through and through, stability is their money language, while the other may be a moments person wanting to live in the now, have fun, spend money, have experiences. This can bring tension. How do we get on the same page with the people that matter most to us? Understanding their experience and their money story and working together to dismantle some of your very own misconceptions around finances. This one is real in my house. Oh my goodness, I have said it before that I am definitely a stability. Now, I won't ask you guys to do something that I'm not walking out myself, of course. And we are a prime example of the money language being opposites. I'm stability, and my husband now, he's moments to his core. And it drives me nuts. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this. So, how many of you had made a conscious choice that you will not be like your parents or your siblings or your friends? You either use their life as an example of what to do or not to do. This brings me to my favorite saying, more is caught than taught. Others are watching. So, how are you living out your money? Be sure to say thank you to your older siblings if they've paved the way for you to make better choices with your money. This one is one of my favorites, likely because I fall into it. Both men and women experience this one. The main difference, though, is kind of the verbiage around it. Men will say, "Here, hold my beer." And women have referred to flipping others the bird while saying, "Oh, yeah, watch this." Now, this stems from, in one way or another, hearing someone say that you're not good enough or that you wouldn't amount to anything. Perhaps you felt unqualified. Kid you not, this shapes us. It sends us into this striving, this perfectionism, and I'll show you. I fall into this quite often, and then I recognize I'm doing it, and it's like, crap, I did it again. And it's not always because somebody has said these things to us. Sometimes we make up a story in our own minds based on our own feelings that allows this lie to grow. Remember, what you give attention to will always grow bigger. There are so many great stories that others have shared and that I too have experienced the impact in our lives. I found this very, very insightful when I did this interview. I have always said to my kids that you are a sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So choose wisely. But another man mentioned that a community could also make or break your finances. So stay with me here. Are you living within a community that everybody is competing with the Joneses? Or are you living within a community where it's more about gathering and being there for those moments, like of time? It can be easy for us to think we can live in any neighborhood without falling into that trap. But remember, our emotions drive many of our decisions and lives. We want to belong. We want to feel seen, known, and understood. I always think back to that. There's a Wayfair commercial out there, and it's great marketing. It's so clever. But the commercial itself is these two families that are kind of competing about what they've installed in their house. So somebody installed a radios thing in their shower, and then the other person got a touch tap. But if you pay really close attention to that commercial, it actually shows the mailbox. And on the mailbox, it says Joneses. So I remember when I first seen that commercial, I pulled the kids in. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to see this. Remember how we talk about competing with the Joneses and all of these things? I'm like, this commercial just totally capitalized off of that without even realizing. Well, they probably did it intentionally. But how many people see that? It's crazy. So some of our stories were great to hear, mainly because it made me realize that men too struggle with numbing, retail therapy, or self sabotage when it comes to finances. A lot of us actually laughed as we shared our stories. But who can relate to having the best CD collection? Or the video game console after console, getting the next best one? Maybe it's the next best Apple iPhone or the Samsung. Trips or dinner that deflect really what's going on in a marriage. Heck, I've done that. I've bought vehicles to numb behaviors. I have completely gone on trips thinking that that's going to feel better. A friend of mine and I were out for coffee and we were laughing just the other day because we've even used puppies. I'm not kidding. Puppies as a band-aid for what was going on in our lives. So, how many of you have 3 dogs? So my question, I wonder, is it a Band-Aid thing? Is it a feeling? Is it an emotion underneath that? I've even shared that when I get a book in the mail, I quickly take it out of the box and I put it on the shelf so no one would ask. Now, this whole book budget, I'm not lying. My kids have kind of said I need a book budget. And it's challenging. And then when I want a book, I buy it because, I feel like I deserve it and reading and learning is good. But then I quickly feel that shame and that embarrassment. And I feel like I have to hide it from my own family members and put it on the shelf. And then I laughed because I was talking to these people about it. And I'm like, is that money infidelity? And oh my goodness, like we were laughing hysterically. But this is a thing and we all do it. But let's uncover the why we do it so we can retrain our brains to make better financial decisions going forward. Here's the thing about debt. It wreaks emotional havoc on our psyche. Financial strain affects all areas of our performance. Among the adverse effects are low self-esteem, impaired cognitive functioning. This means you can't learn. Remember, be attentive or solve problems while you're freaking out about your money. Did you know it's 40% of Canadians are feeling financially unwell? Our emotions around money drive our relationships. Our feelings can be tied to many things. It can be our upbringing, the first memory of money, which we talked about, environments in which we live, the world, our partners, meet social media, and so much more. Studies have shown that to get good with money, we need to get good with our feelings. So I did a previous podcast that touches on just that, money and emotions. Money is a major contributor to your health and wellness. Diving into emotions and money is completely a part of self-care, one that deserves the utmost attention to detail. We offer a safe container to hold space for others, where they've been, their experiences, and where they're looking to go. Together, through awareness, where we recognize our patterns, our behaviors, we can acknowledge when and where we've lived out our misconceptions about money. This does require 100% self-reflection, radical responsibility. Now, have you contributed to where you are today? Your stories, the lies we believed about the money, and their unconscious money saboteurs. Defining the emotion is big, as it leads to dismantling the old pattern, the lies, the beliefs, as it breaks the power that your old story has on you. And once you tear down that old story, it's time to rebuild the foundation to your new story, the true wholeness of your money story. This is transformational, you guys, but most of our lives we've had others place these labels upon us, and we too have to put our own label, and we too have put labels on ourselves. These so-called labels, may it be said that they are, honestly, just stickers. And my daughter, 16, so clever, she said, "Guess what, Mom? Labels are stickers. You can peel them off." So let me repeat that for those of you that are multitasking. Labels that others have put on you, as well as yourself, are merely just stickers, and you can peel them off. Now, it has been said to me earlier that those stickers completely leave a residue. You bet they do. But did you know that Gugong gets rid of that shit? It no longer becomes about others and what they've thought of you. Instead, it becomes more about who you want to be. Now, let's take it even further and realize that our life experience have led us to have this shape, a story about ourselves that we believe to be true. I recently read a book, The Art of Holding Space. It shares a wonderful visual of how we outgrow our old stories. Now, for me, I'm in the midst of my very own transformation between my two stories, my old story and my true story, my new story, the one where I will be whole, my truest self, I should say, my true DNA. Now, I can't help but wonder how true this is for so many of you that are listening. Are you between these two worlds, almost these two stories? Now, if you're a visual person, don't worry, I've got you. Our old story is represented by, let's say, a house of Lego bricks. This house serves you well, and we need it, but now you've outgrown the walls and it's time for something new. So I love this. You can't build your new story or imagine what it needs to be until you dismantle the original Lego house. Now, building a new foundation is key to live in the fullness of your life and your money. But there's a but. This space is scary. It is the unknown. It means you need to let go of your old identity, both in life and in money, and allow for space to explore what the new you is, what the truth is about money and abundance in your future. It takes leaning in to curiosity and possibility. It's a little bit like a tornado, though. Leaving your old story brings about chaos and resistance, right? Because we kind of think that's who we are. I've lived this. That's me. I am that. And it's hard to let go of those old stories. Perhaps there's some fear, there's some grief, there's conflict. We have taken our old stories on as if they are our identity, and we must stay there. This has happened to me, and this is who I am. I know as I take a stand and I hold on to my old story, and it's real. But moving into our new story and rebuilding, it's going to be uncomfortable. You will have insight, there will be clarity, there'll be regret, panic, there'll be peace. I mean, every emotion you can possibly think of is likely one that you're going to feel. It's kind of a paradox in a way. But the key is to show up, but to show up for you. Showing up for wanting to get to the other side of your story, to your true transformation, both in your life and in your money. Because this leads to living out a wholeness. This leads to money wholeness, financial wholeness. I talk about that all the time. And life wholeness. I've experienced this, oh goodness, it's tender, it's raw, it's messy as shit. And to shed our old stories that are no longer serving us best, it requires to strengthen muscles like our intuition, discernment, humility. That is so hard to drop some of our pride. It takes courage and curiosity. I absolutely love what Heather Plett says. She's the author of The Art of Holding Space. Here's why we end up lost within our stories. We slowly but surely lose touch with our identity. We lose our free spirit, our uniqueness, and our authenticity. We learn by careful imitation, by punishment, and by shaming how to survive the environment into which we've been born. We tame our wildness, our nonconformity, and our defiance. We put on a mask to hide aspects of ourselves that we believe are not acceptable to the world. We become people our parents, teachers, and other influencers expect us to be. We learn to fit the culture. Oh my goodness, that is so big. And if you have to, guys, go back a little bit and listen to that again. When this awakening comes, the realization that our stories, our money stories and our life stories, it's not who we are. It does not define us. We face a new choice, and that is to step into this new expression. We move from insecurity of all kinds in our life, in our money, our identity that's tied to money, the old labels that we've believed, disconnection to releasing the lies, the unmasking, showing up without having it all together. Boom, mic drop right there. Stop trying to impress others, showing up in truth, revealing, trusting, healing, and emerging into a transformation wholeness in oneself and your money. Like we talk about it and we all want it, but why is it so damn hard? So keep in mind that we might be, rather self-absorbed in the revealing process, worried about what others will think of us as we kind of, shift and change a little bit. Need to make a good impression. We're scared of failing. But through the work, you come to a place of releasing. You release your ego, you release the pride, and you move into a more you. Now, I could go on for hours about this, and I do believe that our lives, past, present, and future, paired with our emotions, have lasting implications, either good or bad, on our financial well-being. And I don't know about you, but hell, I want wholeness in all areas of my life. I want wholeness in my money, in my relationships, my friendships, my work. I want to experience it to the core of who I am. This, dear ones, is how it is built. It's built through transcending to your new story. But I will end with these two quotes. Your soul knows the geography of your destiny. Your soul alone has the map of your future. Therefore, you can trust this indirect, oblique side of yourself. If you do, it will take you where you need to go. But more importantly, it will also teach you a kindness of rhythm in your journey. By John Donahue himself. Followed by Brene Brown, of course. You can either walk inside your story and own it, or you can stand outside your story and hustle for your worthiness. I leave you with that, my friends. Make the change. You are so worth it. Thanks so much for listening. We hope that you guys found this insightful. We encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the new releases that are coming soon. Follow us on social media. Our platforms are LinkedIn and Instagram. Head over to the website and let us know if you wish to share your story, either on the podcast or even in a blog. Our website is youinsureinc.ca, youinsureinc.ca. We too have newsletters as we give you our very own family recipes paired with tips and tricks so you can finish well too. Bye for now.